Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for joining us for this webinar. On behalf of Inspirisa and Guapalita, I am extremely happy to share with you this opportunity for your life or your professional career or your business plan. So this opportunity is not only a special but unique opportunity because today we're going to learn about this program that our partner Yuxta has for you. And for explaining more details and more information about this wonderful opportunity, I welcome Maria Jose Perez Rebolledo, who is today with us. Some of you already know Maria Jose, and today is a big pleasure to share this stage with you. Maria Jose.
Hi, everybody. Well, thank you so much, Ideli, for this space so I can talk more about innovation, inspiration, and especially the informative session of the Inspiration Excursions that we have planned for you. I'm just going to say welcome in the beginning, welcome, bienvenidos in every language. I know that there's just a couple of them here, but this is our feeling. We want to really, really welcome you and also to introduce myself a little bit. For those who haven't seen me in another webinar, I am from Yuxta, former Redbox Innovation US, and I am an inspiration consultant. I'm gonna share with you later some type of details about who is Yuxta, but something that I would like to share with you is my story. I worked before in Redbox in Mexico, the headquarters of the business consultant group. And I founded there an academy so people can have the knowledge from consultants who are day to day practicing what innovation means in the Mexican and Latin American context. Later on, I pursued and was granted a scholarship to go to Japan to study my MBA in order for me to understand the innovation practices from Japan, which are very different from the West, specifically from Mexico and the US. So the practices in Japan are much more focused on the details, the process, the daily improvements, rather than here's all the investment and go for it and go wild with your dreams. It's much more about little do betters. So I really wanted to know more about it, and I studied there, and I spent 5 years working as well in Japan. Now I'm living in Brazil, back with Redbox Innovation US or Yuxta, as Idely mentioned. And here I am promoting this program that is called Inspiration Excursions, which is wonderful. I will go into details later on. But first of all, so we can begin our session, I would like to start with this question so you can have on your mind. When was the last time you saw something that surprised you? And where were you? I know it is probably the first time you thought about this in this day, or probably in the week, probably in the month. So it's a little bit difficult to start thinking, okay, when was the last time that I see something that really surprised me, or I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I would like you to start thinking about this question, because all this session would be about that, about things that surprised us. And I know Ideli have already something on mind because I asked this question beforehand, so she was prepared. So I would like to listen to Ideli. What was the last time you saw something that surprised you?
Yes, there have been many things, but something that I saw, a common factor that I saw recently, I was in Paris last month, and I had opportunity to meet a lot of people there, people who have their own business. And a very common factor that I found there is the wonderful stories that every person had behind in order to build up the business they have. And all of them, all pass through very, very resilient moments. This was something that for me was, okay, maybe this is a very interesting factor that is giving us some information about all what these successful people have to pass through in order to reach that level. So for me, that was a surprising thing.
Yeah, definitely. I feel what you're saying, ideally. I have heard so many interesting stories about um, the failures of people who are successful right now. And it is kind of it feels really good to know that they are human as well. That we are the same. And we
Totally.
can and we can also have those hard moments in our life, and how can we have the attitude and the viewpoint of, okay, moving forward, maybe changing and iterating a little bit, maybe talking with someone else that knows about any other topic, so I can like overcome that obstacles, is really inspiring. So thank you, Idele, for sharing this to us. And I'm asking this question because one of the things that is very important for Yoxta is that we believe in the power of conversations, that we believe in the power of inspiration, and always thinking about, okay, what is the thing that surprised me today? And not because we are like we have an attitude or we have a disease of just not being able to stay still. It's more about an attention of our mind. It's where our focus goes. We are trying to feed our mind with more references or more inputs in our mind in order to come up with new ideas. And everything that I'm telling you right now, and this question we made it, it's because we want to provoke the mind. There's so much information out there that we stop paying attention to things that are interesting, that are changing, evolving. So this is the same thing that is going on with Juxta, with my company. It's because we have changed as well and evolved through time. Just to give you a little bit more context, Juxta, which is from the word juxtaposition, started in the 1999 with a company called Play USA. And then over there, they started with this idea of how come when we have meetings with our teams, we are always trying to think, okay, how can we increase revenue 20% this year? And then in the meeting, nobody thinks about new ideas, or maybe the ideas that were the same as last year, or maybe the ideas that is the same as my competition. And it's not because people are not creative. It's because sometimes people lack new references in their mind. So with this hypothesis in as a base of the company, Play USA started. And then there was one person that also was inspired by Play USA because he was reading in the Fast Company magazine one day about the biography of the founder of Play USA that is called Andy Stefanovic. And then the guy from Mexico called Rodolfo Ramirez started the branch in Mexico. And then it changes the name to Redbox. This is where I was working before as well, that I started the academy. And that's where the founders of Juxta also worked before. And we have been innovation consultants from many, many years. Later on, Yvonne and Edwin, which are the co-founders of Juxta, also wanted to create this idea of, okay, from ideas and creation of context to implementation, there's a big gap. There's so many factors that influences how to interact with outside factors in order to make your ideas reality. So they started with this idea, okay, we want to create a studio to help people, innovators, entrepreneurs, people inside companies to make these ideas reality. So they started Beta Studio. Um, they stopped working at Redbox and created their own studio in 2016. And that brought them to New York in 19. And actually, the founder, Rodolfo Ramirez, the founder from Redbox, really liked the idea of Beta Studio, and they saw all the implementations that they did. So they bought back Beta Studio from Yvonne and Edwin, and now it's one of the business unit of Redbox. That's how Redbox and Yvonne and Edwin started as well, juxtaposition. And this idea of juxtaposition, juxta, is that we believe that we are the first ever inspiration consultants. We're focusing our positioning of brand position as inspiration, not so much as innovation, because we believe really in the power of inspiration. How does it changes and move people and impact other ideas? And one of the things that I want to share with you as well, the impact of work that we have done in the past is this building that we created with a previous client of us. Is actually this building already in Bentonville. I don't know if you know, but Bentonville in the US, it's where one of the biggest companies also is located, Walmart. But also, if you remember this company called WeWork, they normally rented one of their floors or one of two floors of a specific building for their co-working spaces. But in Bentonville, they wanted to build their first building for themselves. And Bentonville, one of the things that they have is that it's very similar as Netherlands, that they are always biking. And they have actually the longest bicycle road in the city of the US. So thinking about this and also the culture of going to outside of your house and see people passing by and talking with other people with tea, etc. They wanted to promote this idea of sharing art, of sharing what's going on in the layers of the buildings in order to go to your upper building, upper office. So this building, I don't know if you can see there, but you can go from your house in your bike to your office in the fourth floor or whatever with your bike as well. It's a bikeable road I'm building. Now, the other thing that we have worked with is Cinepolis. Cinepolis is a very big movie theater internationally. And we thought with them how to redesign the physical and virtual spaces to bring the brand to life. There were so many insights from this project, but one of the things that really catches my attention, and I think it has been as well in Riyadh, in Latin America, specifically in hot places, we spend a lot of time in malls walking around because it's so hot outside that we would like to entertain ourselves, our family, with our friends inside of a mall, right? So normally when we go to the movies, we walk around the mall, seeing what's going on and just spending some time. So Cinepolis understood that their industry is not only in sharing movies in the film industry, it's also in providing this free time or leisure time with family and friends. So we went with this customer to inspire ourselves in different parts of the world to see how entertainment was pictured and conceived from different cultures. And we wanted to incorporate, for example, a small park inside of the movie theater so people can wait and see some of the trailers of the movie and be inspired by like, okay, I'm gonna see Inside Out so soon. And they were passing by some trailers. They are also passing by some information about them. Also, the screens were kind of different, were much more immersive, and the idea of the shop and the candies were also in a different way. It's not only like I'm gonna buy something, but it goes through the journey of all the theaters, so you can see how your candies are done in the moment and how they were delivered. It was amazing because also as Cinepolis is a global brand in Latin America, Asia, and the US, they want to see what else is going on. They want to understand how people perceive movies and entertainment, and they understand that the cinema was, you can live what's going on in the film much more than just seeing in your house. So that idea of living it much more and enjoying with the people that were around you is the thing that they wanted to provide. So we created the concept with them and helped them make it more real. So why am I focusing on inspiration? Well, we have this idea of the same inputs that you have in your mind. Imagine that there are dots, all the references, all the knowledge, all the things that you see are going to provide the same outputs. That means the same ideas. But if you have new inputs, if you see other things, if you talk with other people, if you're interested in other disciplines, now astronomy, now biology, now what's going on in the digital world, what's going on with AI and the brands in New York, or what's going on with Riyadh and what are the practices of the social life there, then you're going to create new outputs, which is new ideas. And this is how we call the science of inspiration. Many times we see inspiration as something that is just an eureka moment, something that enlightens us while we're walking or while we are taking a shower. But in reality, it can be inspiration by design, and it can be something that we understand much more than just waiting for the perfect moment to have as the light just pops up, right? And Yvonne and Edwin, which are the founders of Yuxta, had spent so many years, and they have been reading so many books, talking with different people to try to understand how inspiration and creativity actually works in our body and our brains, how perception of the things that we already have in our brains are transformed in order to create new ideas. And that's how our method is called the science of inspiration. So, having said this, why are we here today? It's because innovation happens when the right people have the right conversation. We truly believe that. Just as Idly was saying about what was the thing that surprised her lately, it was this conversation that I had with entrepreneurs and women that were overcoming their obstacles and resilience, how very important was for their development of their careers. And maybe or may not, Idly have different references and new ideas for her own projects in life. So that's where something sparks, right? That's how innovation happens. And also something that I would like to share with you, there's this book that we recommend that is a very long one. It's called Momentum. It's a companion on small groups that change in the arc of history. And what it says, and it's just going to be a couple of examples. What it says is something really interesting. This is a picture of the 19th century after the French Revolution, where people got together. There were intellectual networks where scientists, philosophers, thinkers, and government officials were thinking, okay, how can we build and design this new society? Because they were used to a specific monarchy for many years, and now they have the opportunity to create something for themselves. So they got together and talk about the boundaries of their possibilities, how humanity were going to be acquiring new knowledge, and that's where the dot started with the encyclopedia, for example. Voltaire and Rousseau talking about philosophy and about the nature of the human being and what were the possibilities of them. How can we, as governments as well, make a new government? This is how they got together and start talking about interesting conversations. Other example are this one called from the Impressionists called Tertullia's Room. Is after the meal they got together and talk about art. And it's really interesting because they were seeing as well in the 19th century, these people, these art people were trying to change the way art was seen. It was not only about making something really, really close to reality. It was about checking how light changed the momentum of the place. It can be someone that is everyday life, a girl passing by with her kids, a park, the waters, a tree, whatever. As long as it can change the way the light was reflected, the light and color was reflected through visible brushstrokes. And they got together and see how can they express themselves and say and do something very different from what it was before. Other example was this group of people and scientists from the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge, very close to London. If you look at the Cavendish Laboratory and the Nobel Prizes in Wikipedia, they're gonna pop up so many names and so many different results. And this is because they have a secret very close to their laboratory. We're not only very knowledgeable people, they were also very inspiring people. And here it's something that we really, really impressed us. Their secret is because they have a puff really close to their location. And it is not only because they were just having fun, having a beer. It's because laboratories often fail or often just stay in the same experiment because their scientists never talk to each other. To stimulate the change of ideas, they build a canteen or pub where people can chat at morning coffee, lunch, and tea. So now you see in the long tables, biologists having a lunch with the physicist, and then also with the mathematician, and also with the chemist. And now they're exchanging ideas from their different disciplines, and that enhance and spark new ideas. If you go to this canteen or pub, it's called the Eagle. They have different plates all around the place. And it even shared the story of where Kirk and Watson made the first public announcement of discovering the DNA. It is very interesting. And one of the things that in Yuxta we would really are focusing on doing is that we do not want to think that creativity only is located in a specific city or it's because in a small group of people are boosting new ideas. We want actually to create a global movement where this is happening. Worldwide drives inspiration and innovation, and we would like to break away the idea that creative communities must be tied to a specific location. If you think about, okay, where is the most creative place in the world? You can think about probably Tokyo, or you can think of Silicon Valley, but actually there's so many places where are boosting and sparking creativity and having interesting conversation that it's very interesting to just take a look at there, understanding what's going on, getting immersed in this experience, and then boost our own creativity as well. So just to remember, business people and communities, they always need new ideas to remain relevant, which requires new inputs to have new outputs. Now, I ask you the question, when was the last time you saw something that surprised you? And also I would like to share mine. This one is called Mischief, this company. It is in the United States, and something that they do is that they're always looking to provoke people in their ideas, in their drops, in their campaigns. So one time they did this about 2 years ago, where they bought an original Andy Warhol sketch that it was worth about $20,000, and they made 999 exact replica, exact copies, exact copies. And then you cannot perceive which one were the original and which were the copies. And then they sold each of them together. You never saw which one was the original. They sold each of them for $100. So now imagine if you bought one of these for $100, you do not know if it was a copy or if it was the original one. So they were challenging the idea of, okay, what's the value here? What is the meaning of value? Is it because I have the new original and I like one of them that is exactly like the others, worth 20,000, but the copies are worth 100, and I might or might not have the original? They were challenging the idea of you putting value into something new. Another one that is also very interesting, it's library that we saw in Hong Kong. It's not a normal library. It is about a plant library, and it's a community plant library. One thing that they have is that in Hong Kong, they really are trying to preserve tradition and knowledge through generations. And with plants and with nature, it's the same. They are the guardians of what's going on with the medicine, the herbal medicine, and how can you take care of the plants? How can you change the pots as well to keep providing this knowledge through the herbs and the plants in Hong Kong? So you can also go to the library, take a plant and reserve it, and you can take care of the plant, and afterwards you give it back. Or they can also, if you have already a plant that is weird in your community, they also take care of your plant in order to preserve this life as well. You can also see how many little plants are there, as well as changing to different pots in order to preserve them. So instead of having a library full of books, you have a library full of herbs and plants that are very different. You can learn from their medicinal takeaways and the properties and what can you even cook with them. And both these examples and also the example that Idly shared is that it creates and shares value. And that's our definition of innovation. It's an implemented idea that generates value. And in order to come up with innovation, something that creates value, there is a process of 3 elements. You have to come up with ideas, which is the part of creativity. And in order to come up with more ideas, you have to come up with innovation, or you have to check what's going on with innovation. And that's exactly what we're trying to promote in the Inspiration Excursions, which are 100 immersive educational program around the world designed about the most disruptive innovation in various industries. It has the purpose to fill your mind with insights, with leaders, global leaders in business, retail, fashion, finance, architecture, products, technology, even collaboration and creativity. So having this in mind, that we already have been working in so many years in Inspiration Excursions, we got together Inspirisa and Yuxta to create a specific program for you. It's called Without Borders, and we have selected the dates from the 19th to the 21st of September this year to have this Inspiration Excursion program. Now, where it's going to be? We selected New York because it's a perfect place to find inspiration and develop new ideas. If you go to the streets of New York, you will see suddenly some new boutique that is providing a content of how they communicate with new generations in emojis. And then you go to the other street and there's something digital going crazy with Empire State where a gorilla is climbing it. And then you go to another street and you see Brooklyn with a little bit more traditional and community-based stores. And it's just an exhaustible source of opportunities and creativity in the streets of New York. Now, the thing that we provide in Inspiration Excursions are 6 layers of details. The first one is everything is focused on the size of inspiration that I told you about. We give as well workshops that are sessions to have this inspiration, transform it, and generate new ideas. We have company visits. So we are going to go to, for example, architecture design firm, and people from inside, they are going to talk us through and see how do they collaborate, what are their practices for employees to keep promoting inspiration, what are they working on, what are the new projects that are challenging them, etc. We have also concept visits that it will depend on the industry that we would like to check. But for example, if we go to a restaurant that is promoting specific accent, for example, we're going to see it later on. But if they're more joyful and playful, they're promoting collaboration in different ways. So we're going to also visit those kind of things. It could be also about fashion, how brands are promoting their style, how that they are communicating with new generations, how does retail and how does the clothes and everything is stacked together so people can go through a journey and understand the organization of it. We also have a human library that is just about like the plants example that I gave to you, but about humans as well. There are very interesting top speakers that you're going to take their knowledge, their trends, their philosophy, and learn from them. And then the other interesting thing is that you're connecting with your tribe. It's a community of thinkers. The participants that goes to Inspiration Excursions are a community of thinkers and inspiring people that are all the time looking for new ways to create something new, to inspire, to make an impact in life. So it's people that are really vibrating. That's why we call it a tribe. Now, overall, how is the Inspiration Excursion experience? Before the event, we have the design part. And I mentioned there's a limited amount of people that are participating in these excursions. There are up to 20 spots. So we always try to understand the current situation of the participants to understand what is their mind at. For example, if there's someone that is right now thinking of what's next for their companies, we understand their situation and challenges. If there's someone else that it's just starting with the idea of wanting to have a business, but they do not have any idea, we also try to understand where is their mind at, if which type of industry, or they are just going because they want to get inspired to educate their kids, like where is their mind at, so we can form the design of the entire Inspiration Excursion in New York City toward the group feeling. Later, we have the experience of the 3 days with the workshops, with the concept tours, with the companies, and with the human libraries. And in the closure, every day we will have a takeaway of downloads of what we see in the excursion in order to provoke the analysis and contemplation. It's not only about saying, oh, that's really interesting, but really understanding the meaning out of it. Is to think about harder what's behind any great idea. I'm going to give some examples of each of these phases. For the design, as I mentioned before, Yvonne and Edwin, which are the founders, and they're going to be speaking in the workshops and guiding you in the excursion as well. They have been creating an assessment of creativity for each people. It's a questionnaire prior the events, so we can also understand what type of creativity, personality, and profile do you have in order to fit your inspiration and your brain with new references. And some of the questions that we might ask you is if you have already a business or established idea of a business, what does normally inspire you? What is your expectation in the community of Inspirisa as well? And then with all this information of the 20 participants, we establish the mood and mindset from the moment that you are arriving. Now, for the experience, we will have the workshops with the assessment of creativity that I was telling you about as well, and explore how you interact with the world and how you're fitting with your senses, creativity to yourself. Now, the other thing is the tour or the excursions to companies. There are many that it's going to inspire you toward your person, about your self-knowledge. There are others who is going to inspire you about collaboration and communication, especially multicultural communication, as New York is a place that many cultures are colliding all the time and creating something really interesting. It's going to be fundamental to understand how New York take advantage of this multiculturality and enhance it. And then business ideas. For example, we might visit Pentagram, which is a very famous design firm, and they have been knowing how communication changed over time. They're experts in understanding and reading the atmosphere of this time, the zeitgeist. If you are familiar with that concept, the zeitgeist is the reading of the atmosphere. And how do they transform this knowledge on languages over time? If you are also interested in the restaurant industry, there's also Shake Shacks that we would like to understand how do they collaborate and communicate in the kitchen? What are the internal technique used? What are the values, the teamwork? How does service to customers represented? To talk about how does the idea and the purpose of Shake Shacks was as well. There's another restaurant that is called Spin. It's the one that has the casual ping pong game, but they made it to another level. They take the restaurant and try to have some activity that is joyful and playful for the participants, so they can have this inner child going crazy in the moment that they are in the restaurant. It's a very interesting experience as well. Or for people who are more focused on sales as well, we visit a concept just like Disney to try to understand how the space and the communication and discovery it's in the floor. We also talk with vendors, for example, with salesperson to understand what are their techniques, how is the journey of guiding the customers are, etc. So we can really nurture our mind with new inputs. There's another one called Tacombi. That is a Mexican restaurant that it's already having 13 locations in New York, Virginia, Florida, Chicago. There is not only a taco place in a combi, in this van, it's a restaurant that is completely changing and redefining their community. It's incorporating food education and employment together. They have a foundation helping people as well, because they understand that the average household in New York that is coming from Latin roots, it has only 27,000 USD per year for an entire household of 5 people. So what do they do in order to create this community and sense of respect toward the people who are passing or working at a combi, and they are doing something completely different? If you would like to know more about these examples, check them on Google. It's really interesting. Is it in the past? Every excursion is different. It, as I mentioned, is depending on the feeling of the group overall. And as well, we have the human library, that we have a network over 100 speakers, top speakers that have been all over the world, and they can share their ideas and knowledge and provide detailed context of if they're, for example, designers, what are the trends, what are the solutions, how do they get inspired, where do they normally go to share knowledge, etc. And in the end, we have also the download of ideas that I was telling you about. For all the participants that join this program, we will also have a digital book so you can remember what were the concepts that we visit, some questions that you need to ask yourself as well, like what did I see? And we share some playlists so you can feel the mood again, so you can have the whole experience of what you lived afterwards. Now, as an example of how this excursion looks like, it's gonna be full 3 days. They are very intense. Every time we get exhausted but excited in our mind. And it will begin in the 19th of September since the morning. So we normally ask participants to arrive before. It could be the day before, or it could be depending on their schedule and their desires if they want to arrive before. But we asking to stay in the 19, 20, and 21 the full day because it's gonna be intense. It is interchangeable. So in the morning, most of the times we start with the workshops and the initial assessment of creativity that I was telling you about. And in the afternoon, we go to concept visits, companies, and human libraries, always finishing with the closure and download of ideas. Now, to sum up, we have done this many times. This is the first time that we do it with Inspirisa, and we're very excited because I know that you have profiles of people who are living in the Arabic region, but also all around the world. So I know that Ideli is a bridge between different people and ideas. So we are very excited to do it with you. But yeah, we have worked with more than 100 projects that are already out there that you can see just as Innepolis and just as the building from WeWork, with different industries in 12 different countries. So what does this mean is that it's not only for entrepreneurs. It's not only for people who work in the restaurant businesses, or it's not only for specific profile. The interesting part is just like the Cavendish laboratory, that people have different backgrounds that can share ideas. And through our experience, we guide those conversations in order to come up with something new and inspiring. And here are some testimonies. You can check it in our Instagram as well. I took it from the Instagram. So for example, Tere Vasquez was a participant in New York last year in September with a program that we have with Fast Company. She's the founder of Relief Taller, an architectural design studio that manages real estate business in Mexico City. And she was saying, being able to connect what I see with my work is priceless. It's like breaking through my limits to create exactly what I need. Just as an artist, you need to be all the time inspiring, and sometimes that can be tiring to come up constantly with new ideas. So this pause in the reactionary work, in the day-to-day work, to see what's going on out there, it was priceless to her. Now, other example is Suani Velasquez. She is a very interesting leader. She's very dynamic, very active. She's the co-founder and managing director in retail expansion and commercial real estate called Ritex, just as the logo over there. And she said that the best part was with the Inspiration Excursion is that it pushed her creativity more than she was thought possible. Now, what I want you to think about is how can this inspiration open my world? If you are working on something that it's still like it can have possibilities of so many different variants, you can open your world to see, okay, what's going on with this generation? What's going on with AI and the digital technology? What's going on with retail and how the customer journey is in retail? What's going on with brands like sport brands or shoes or luxury brands, fashion brands, how those museums as well are communicating new ways of inspiring stories. So overall, I would like you to invite to get inspired with us, to break the idea that creativity communities are only in one location. And this is a program without borders. If you're interested in learning more about, or just to say, yes, I want to be here, please check this QR code. It's the pre-registration. It will take you to another form that you can choose whether you would like to know more and have a conversation with us, or would you like to get registration already to be one of the 20 participants because it's only limited. Then it will send us an email to just continue with your registration. And I know that some people might be thinking, okay, I would like to be with this program, but how much is the cost? To reserve your spot today and during April, we have a pre-sale price that is 5,500, and the regular price is 200 more. So what does this program include? It's the program per se. It's the 3 days of the excursion with the workshops, with the visits, with the human libraries. As many people are different and coming from different locations of the world, it does not include flights, hotel, or meals as well. They have different preferences, so that's why we are taking it away from it. And this price it can also have an option of staggered payments if you would like to check that as well. I know that Idly has already thought about it. How can we can support as well with the price, so we can have staggered payments. And in the end, I would like you to think about this program as a module of a postgraduate program as well, something that is boosting your creativity in any type of industry. And I am ready to hear any of your questions and keep the conversation flowing.
Oh, this is amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Maria Jose, for this wonderful information. And I don't know what you think, guys, about this, but for me, this is golden information and golden opportunity because, as Maria Jose said, it's not only, this is not something it's not only something that will accept or welcome an homogeneous people or group of people, but the diversity is what actually makes you to have a very richful opportunity to increase your growth and your knowledge. This is so great. I don't know if you guys have any question. If so, just type it in the chat, or if perhaps in the coming minutes or hours you raise some questions or some comments, you can just contact Maria Jose or contact myself in order to go forward in this talk. But I just wanted to say that I find this opportunity of the Inspiration Excursions not only something punctual for your, as Maria Jose said, for your business. This is for life. This is something for life. This learning is for life, which is going to help you to expand your vision as leader. And we know that this competency of visionary leadership is today mandatory in our world, in our whatever business we do, the visionary leadership. And I think that this gives you the opportunity to really see the whole scope of your world from the top, to see how all this might work, how all the different pieces that perhaps you have been thinking, now how they can match or how they can restructure. We need sometimes this kind of push in order to be with the right tribe, with the right people, with the right group, with that people who are also inspired like us, engaged like us, with that level of creativity, with that level of innovation, who can understand our ideas, our concepts. So this is fantastic to be in a group that really speaks the same language. And I'm not talking about the language like English, Spanish, or whatever. It's that language of innovation and creativity is unique. It's awesome. And this is the opportunity that I see here. So I already see my face there in the next picture that you're going to present, Maria Jose, for the next webinar. And you guys feel free to let us know your questions or any comment that you have. This is amazing. So anything else, Maria Jose, that we can add here?
Just that it's a pre-registration because we're also making a process of interviews and getting to know the people who are going to join this experience, because it's very important for us to really design the experience for yourself and for the group itself. And we're doing this program with Inspirisa because I know that Idly is really trying to promote the creativity and many soft skills of people without borders. That's how the name of Without Borders came to life. And that's how it's important for you to also know that you're going to be part of 20 people maximum that are also going to share with you this idea and this inspiring lifestyle and this eagerness to do something different. It's not only about you having inputs in New York City and the streets and inspiring people that you're going to talk with, but also to make this connection with these other 19 other people. And this is something that you can take with you.
Correct.
So also I would like to thank for this time. Thank you for this time, Idly, as well, for this space. And I am very happy to be promoting this, to be part of the experience. So yes, please fill out the registration, send me an email, talk with Idly if you prefer that, or by LinkedIn. But we are welcoming you. And if you have any questions, please just send us a message.
Thank you so much, Maria Jose. As she said, it's important to know the profile of the people who are interested and participating in these excursions. So based on that profile and based on what the trend and what the needs of this group are demanding, then of course Maria Jose and her team are going to polish all the content and make all this really worthwhile for you. That's the idea, to understand better and learn more about your needs and your reality right now. What is exactly what you need right now? What is exactly what you want to hear right now? Or what is what you want to develop right now? What is what you are missing in this dream or goal that you have, right? And that's the way to help us each other. So fantastic. I'll just see that, okay, there's Abdulaziz, you're here. We're about to conclude, Abdulaziz, but this webinar is being recorded. Francisca as well. If you guys have any question, anyway, I'm going to share this link for our WhatsApp group. If you guys want to join this WhatsApp group for further information and just to present yourself, introduce yourself, your needs or your questions, whatever, feel free. I just put it there in the chat and we keep in touch, right? Okay. So thank you, Maria Jose, and thank you guys for joining us today. See you soon.
Thank you.